Hey there ladies and gents. So, it's been a few days now since the last update. Of course, the magnets have finally come. I missed them in the post, so I had to go down the post office to get them. So I've got new magnets now, so I can continue with the build. What I've done with this originally we had the holes in the top of the central rotor and the top of the rotor itself. I've now filled it in with something called milliput. It's pretty good stuff. It's nice and solid as well, so I can now drill into this wherever I want to recorrect the positions. Just checking the camera. Can mostly see that. As you can see, the pencil lines here represent the position where the rotor is going to go now. You can also see how far off it was. This was a failing that happened. This is what caused the motor not to work last time. For whatever reason, it was just completely and utterly off, and I just never noticed it. I just never clocked it at all. But now I've filled it in. The size is right, and everything seems to be going so far so good. Next thing then is a positionings of the rotor. Again, very important. What I've done is made wooden versions of the magnets, the same thickness, same size, and this is where they'll sit within the rotor itself. So they've got the inner ring, which will be these obviously going round, and then the outer ring, each one stuck individually down to make the magnetic circles. I've also got one on the rotor itself, nice wooden one. Thing to note with that is the position. It's too high, so when this actually goes over into place, magnets wise, this will be above the positions of these, because again this plastic is designed to be off the surface so it doesn't scrape, doesn't scratch, of course. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on that. Again, just simple things like that cause a lot of problems. So with this now, I can see and actually test that I've got space. That little bit of play is exactly what I want, as if it was too close it would scrape, of course, and squeeze, or wouldn't actually fit through. Again, the magnetic strength would overall be sort of too high. I do want a certain level of slackness, again just to make sure that it can pass through comfortably. But also close enough to get power from it as well. The next thing I need to do then is actually start again positioning this. What I've got to do, I took the little metal bar from the centre of the rotor, so I'm going to put this on the bench drill, get a tiny little drill bit and put a little hole in, and from that I can again line it up with the positions on here, and again just to make sure it fits and goes around it where I want it to. 1 second. So I need to drill through the centre of the rotor, mark up the position of that. Okay, so I've been on the bench drill now. I use these. As you can see, we've got some nice small holes that go right through the milliput and giving me a position. I've now put in a piece of metal to support the rotor, and all the artificial magnets are in place on the rotor and both on the body, just to get the positions correct, to make sure they're in place. And as you can see, when I place the rotor into the milliputs, there we are. Small amount of play, which is to be expected as a drill bit cuts a slightly bigger hole, but it's fractional, absolutely fractional, and nothing impacts on the face of the magnets. When I give it a little bit of a turn, yep, for me visually that's centered. It's not like going left or right or up or down or anything like that. Of course there's a bit of movement again because that's just the rotor, but everything appears to be perfectly fine and going exactly as it should do for now. So yep, the next thing I need to be doing now is really positioning the center hub itself. As you can see, I'm kind of working out things as I go along, but I might have a little rethink off camera just in case to make sure. But there we are, that's the hub that I want. This one I've been around with a file to get rid of all the glue and again to level it off. This will be going into the middle. I'll drill out the milliput again, and a bit of the wood again because of the position, and that will be sunk into the body. It will raise the height that I need to go over these screws. If not, I'll countersink these. Again, just to make sure that they're exactly in place where they need to be. Currently this is actually tack glued to the body as well as screwed. Again, I do not want it moving a fraction, absolutely nothing. So again, once I've positioned this, and I'm happy again with the rotor installed, that it's both raised off the base high enough and positioned where I want it to. Again, I'll try to check that as I go around to make sure it's sat right between these positions of the magnets. The next thing for me to do once that's been sunk, this has been positioned, is just to dig out the bottom again. Again, that's just to make sure there's clearance. I don't want nothing scraping, nothing touching. Again, if there's a little bit of wobble where the body tips and yaws, again, I just don't want it to catch the base of this. So I'll take a few mil off, dig it out, and then do the final part, which is then to remove these two pieces and start fitting the magnets. So at that point I test it. For the output of it, I think initially it's not going to work without the flywheel. Again, as I explained how the system will work, or how I believe it will work, it's about gathering the energy from the magnets, obviously using the attraction repulsion law of it, which is what they do. It's just that I want to put that energy somewhere. This isn't heavy enough, so I'll have to build a flywheel, or have a flywheel of some sort, and again, that's sort of the final stage, is figuring it out, and that will collect the energy as it gets pushed around. I want to build up energy, and hopefully enough by the end of it to push through that initial repulsion stage, which is literally only at least a 4 mil section, the very concentration point here, between the transition between, you know, the attracting side and repelling side. I need to build up enough energy across that surface, across that length, to just push through 4 millimeters. And again, that's where I need the flywheel to capture and then release that energy back into the system, and hopefully have it self-sustaining. That is the long-term goal, or if not further, you know, development into magnetic motors. It'd be nice to be the one that figures it out to actually get it working, but let's see. Again, there's a lot of people doing research into this. We're getting closer and closer, and sometimes rules are meant to be broken. So yep, next thing to do, sink that, measure it, make sure it fits, dig it out, get the magnets in place, job done. So, with the help of a rather hefty 1 centimeter wide wood drill bit, I'll put a hole straight through the whole thing. So I'll pop it in. Go on. There we are. That is now in place. Bring it a bit closer there. So that is now spot on in place, and it spins absolutely perfect. It's actually in position so well that, again, the bottom doesn't scrape. I might take just a mil off, far less than what I was going to take. Originally I was going to gouge it out to avoid it, but again, this is absolutely spot on and in place. As you can see, with the brass bearing, it can spin really easily. For a fair bit of time, and kids on the motorbikes, it's that time of year, so yeah, that can spin nice and freely for a very long time. As you can see with the circle right in the middle there, it is centered absolutely spot on. I've done the measurements and checked the position of the rotor itself across the whole system. And it's, I'm going to really make the line messy, but it's in a bigger line actually. I'll rub it out too, things nice and clear. So the line there, the pencil line, marks the position of where the rotor actually goes right through the middle, and it is in fact right through the middle. The ruler has gone missing. Won't be able to see it with this thing, it's been through all sorts. But the gap here is 3 centimeters from here to here, and at 2.5, sorry, 1.5 the line lines up spot on. So the rotor is positioned absolutely perfect to go right down the middle. So that's been a little update so far. Guys, thanks for watching, take care, and I will see you later.